Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Old Reader, New Reader. So tonight it is time for my birthday pick. So my birthday was a little bit ago, but we kind of moved some things back. And even though we've done a lot of DC as of recently, I had a special request I could make, and I chose Booster Gold, 52 pickup, and Blue and Gold. These two right here.
She gets one request a year. She gets one a
Just
year.
one.
This is
No.
it.
But I get there's special birthday permissions, right? So I've been dying to read these
Sure.
forever, and part of the what we were waiting for was to read Infinite Crisis first. And now that that's done, I want to jump into it. Although I did learn that this does spoil a little bit of the 52.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to ruin it for me, so I'm not bothered by that. I know who the big bad is, but oh well. That's fine. So spoilers at home if you know, there are spoilers in Booster Gold for Infinite Crisis and 52. So if you haven't read those yet and you wanted to jump in on them, just know that you're going to be spoiled by what happens because they talk about some very major moments in these, but honestly, I don't think there's enough in here that it's going to ruin any of those stories for you. It doesn't go over every single thing that happens, right? So but for 52 it does ruin the big bad, I guess.
It does, and it ruins a lot of other little things that were kind of important to Michael's story. So it kicks off after the events of 52. 52 is over, and then Countdown began. And then Countdown, we didn't know at the time, but it was leading to Final Crisis. Well, no, we kind of knew it was going to lead to Final Crisis. The book is written by Geoff Johns and Jeff Katz, and is drawn by Booster Gold's creator, Dan Jurgens. So, really quick, the story of Booster Gold begins in the 80s. And he ended up joining the Justice League. He's a dude that was kind of I think he even compares himself to Pete Rose,
Yeah, he does.
where he threw a game and he got caught, and he ended up being a loser. He ended up working as a security guard and at this museum of superheroes. For some reason, they let him hang
Because
around these.
everyone from the future hangs out in these like superhero museums, which I
Oh,
love.
right.
Can we talk about that? How it's a total trope in DC Comics that like, oh, I'm from the future. I heard about you in
Oh,
the,
absolutely.
the Hall of Fame for the Flash. Surprise!
I was gonna say that they keep the treadmills there. I mean, the whole Zoom. Anyway,
Why would you
so
just keep all this stuff? Booster's like, yeah, all right, and he
so
just steals all this stuff and
he
makes himself
steals
a
a
suit.
he steals a Legion ring. He steals a costume and bands that let him shoot lasers, and then he also takes the little robot Skeet
Skeets. Yeah,
and
because Skeets was going to
travels
stop him
back.
from leaving, and so he just took Skeets with him too.
So then he travels back to the 80s and then hangs out with the Justice League International there for a while. Becomes really good friends with Blue Beetle, faces the threats of the Sparrow and Doomsday, and then kind of gets in the 90s. He becomes part of the Extreme Justice, which is a bad, bad part of the 90s. And uh, from that moment on, he kind of gets forgotten. Nobody really remembers Booster Gold. He kind of became a joke character to a lot of people. And
Well, I think it's good to talk about how just like not yeah, I mean like he's a joke to everybody and it's something that comes up in this book a lot. But he's also like Booster's really different from other superheroes, right? Because when he goes back in time it's more, he kind of failed in the future. And so he's like, well, I'm going to go back. I'm going to be the best superhero. And he basically cheats his way through
right,
the superhero gig, right? So, he has access to what's going to happen in the future. He knows when events are going to happen, so he can kind of be there to make it, save the day. So, like, find the Royal Flush Gang or whoever else, because he knows those periods in time he can show up and save the day. And he always has, like, sponsorships. He's that kind of, like,
love that.
full of himself guys, like, yes, hello, I'm Booster Gold. And he usually has this whole big spiel, or he has Skeets, like, you know, sing the spiel to everybody. He's very just like Zach Brannigan type of character. for those who understand the Futurama reference.
I think
Um,
most people do.
yeah, and so like that's sort of like our background with Booster, and it's something that they really talk about in this book too, because we start out and we learn a little bit more about Booster and Blue Beetle and how none of them really took them seriously, and then perhaps their whole purpose of being on the Justice League International was on purpose, right?
Yes. Yeah. So I always enjoyed that friendship of like Booster Gold and Blue Beetle. Uh, and everything changes. Like, well, we talked about spoilers, but everything changes with Countdown, right? Like the DC universe becomes a lot darker. Blue Beetle gets killed. So the deal with 52 pickup is even in the pages of 52, Booster Gold was able to screw up some things, and towards the end, he kind of redeemed himself. Now, within the pages of his own comic book, he is trying to join the Justice League, but
Hmm.
instead gets approached by our other favorite time traveler from the DC universe,
Rip Hunter.
who has a badass name and a cool costume and has grown a amazing beard. Now, Rip has a mission for our boy Booster. By the way, what's his name is hanging around here too? Nova, Supernova. If you all
Yeah.
remember that character from 52, he's still in this book, and that sucks because you find out who Nova or Supernova is. Uh, not you probably should have. It would have been better if you had found out within the pages of 52. This is one of my favorite things because I was going to ask how you felt about this because I think it's such a better read if you are familiar with a lot of the events that had happened in the DC universe. Like, because everything that he's being shown are kind of like little throwbacks. I mean, it's Geoff Johns, like I mentioned before when we did our Infinite Crisis review, that he is a walking DC encyclopedia. So
Hmm.
all these little things are, things that actually happen in the DC universe. Or my favorite thing is always to look at Rip Hunter's chalkboard to look for future spoilers.
Right.
I mean, you've got 0 Hour. Um, you have all kinds of things here. The death of or Aquaman's son, Captain Marvel coming into the DC universe. So it's nice little Easter eggs. So he gets accepted to the Justice League, and then everything changes, right? So the mission is kind of like Quantum Leap, where Rip Hunter is sending Booster Gold back through several different timelines to undo things or make sure things happen the way they were supposed to happen.
It's just Legends of Tomorrow.
Okay, is that the premise of Legends of Tomorrow? I have not
Yeah,
seen it, but this is the black board
led
I
by
was
Rip
talking about.
Hunter. This is just Legends of Tomorrow.
Okay, well then, Legends of Tomorrow borrowed heavily from this and Quantum Leap apparently. So this is the chalkboard I was talking about. They did the
Mhm.
exact same thing in 52. In 52 issue 1, week 1, they did the whole chalkboard, and if you were to look back at it again when everything was said and done with issue 52, you see that they went through the whole thing. Uh, who is Dr. 13? The return of Ray Palmer. Yeah, I enjoyed this. So Booster's like, sure, man, I'm in. I'll be your Dr. Sam Beckett. But here's a catch. We got to fix something. You got to give me my boy back. You got to bring back Blue Beetle. Because
Yeah.
that's some bullshit that he got killed.
Well, there's also that other trade-off too, where like basically by being a part of this group, by working with Rip, like Booster has to kind of give up that persona he's been trying to sell to everyone. You know,
Oh,
because he was getting close to joining the Justice League. They're like, "Hey, you can join on in," and he's like, "No, like you, I can't now. Like I have to look like this bumbling idiot if I'm gonna also save space and time." Which is why Booster Gold's like the greatest hero you've never known, right? I know. I love this whole thing because I love him going back in time and fixing things, but also having to do so at the cost of his pride. Like I don't know. Man, makes me love Booster so much. And then there's more reasons. There's more things that come up, but it's so good. It's so good. And especially like not some of the missions are or some of the missions are more interesting than others. But highlights. I love when he meets up with Sinestro.
Yeah, that was issue 2. That I did too, because I love his sit down with Guy Gardner when they're having a beer.
Oh, yeah.
That was classic. Because
Well, I love
you
the way
get
he
to.
was sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say you get to find out a lot about both characters, both
Mhm.
Booster and Guy Gardner over a beer. So yeah, his whole mission was to stop Guy Gardner from becoming the greatest Lantern.
Yeah.
It was just a matter of Guy Gardner, reaching out to his dad, who's dying.
Yeah, and then him telling Sinestro, "Oh, man, Mr. Sinestro, it's so great to meet you. You know, where I come from, you're the greatest Green Lantern that ever lived." And he's like, "Oh, man, son, what's that ring on your finger?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm part of the Sinestro Corps." So basically, like, insinuating that he puts that idea in Sinestro's head, which I
Right.
love.
I love when time traveling stories do that, whether it's comic books or
Oh,
movies.
yeah.
Uh, so then, yeah, the Jonah Hex story was pretty okay, but that's more about making sure that the Kents are born and they're in
Yeah, I wasn't
Smallville.
that interested in them, really.
And then
But I mean, it was
you
interesting,
get
though.
you get your crossover of Wally and
That was cute.
Barry, which is a nice little, once again, the treadmill storyline. And then you get the introduction of Rex Hunter, who's not really Rex Hunter. He's just wanting to be one of the Time Masters. Man, there's so many throwbacks in this. That's what I was wondering how you felt about this, because a lot of these things have, they're Easter eggs from other comic books like The Killing Joke or things you've heard of but haven't read yet. But the whole Time Master idea, I love that. It's so cheesy and
Well,
Silver
I've read
Age.
I've read The Killing Joke.
Oh, have you? For some reason, I
Yeah.
thought you hadn't read it yet.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course.
So,
Yeah,
let's
and
see.
that man, now talk about a great story, 'cause I love that part of the book, and it's something I think about a lot because, you have Rip Hunter trying to teach Booster Gold a lesson, where he's saying, "Okay, well, before we can go save Ted, you have to go save Barbara because she's never supposed to be in a wheelchair," knowing full well that she was supposed to, it's a fixed point in time, and
Right.
just trying to teach him a lesson, and yet, even though it's not Booster's at this point, you could argue that Booster's doing it just to get to Ted, right? But it's definitely so much more. Like, how far he goes to save Barbara is so sweet and heartbreaking because you just can't. And what an awful, awful moment in DC history. And I can just picture, if Rip had let him continue, I could see Booster trying again hundreds of times
Oh
to
yeah,
fix
because
this.
he just kept getting shot. He kept getting hurt.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed that issue too, because it goes back to the days of Birds of Prey when they kind of had a thing for Blue Beetle. And then you
Mhm.
get the whole Blue Beetle team, right? You get the original Blue
Which is
Beetle,
awesome.
Dan, and then you get Jaime, and then you get the mysterious Blue Beetle from the future. And he's like, "Fuck it, I'm going back because these Blue Beetles are saying that we can bring Ted back."
Yeah, it doesn't take much for him. He's like,
Uh,
you said I can't, but these 3 Blue Beetles showed up, so I'm gonna go hang with them."
yeah, so it gives you kind of a little bit of a recap of who Blue Beetle was and how he got killed. And
Of
sure
course, the way
enough,
that he talks about him too, because, they're asking about him, he gives this whole, like the way he talks about Blue Beetle and their friendship
oh yeah, it's awesome.
is beautiful.
And all he can, I remember the part where he's like, all I can really think to yell out is Ted, his name.
Oh,
Like he's wanting to say all these things. Um, and this had a bittersweet ending. So yes, he takes a bullet, literally takes a bullet for Ted. Right, it goes through
nice.
his goofy goggles, and he saves Ted. And he's like, "Oh shit, yeah!" Now this book, I had a lot of fun with this one
Oh,
because
it's so good.
this one brings back the whole team of Blue and Gold. Not only that,
And
but
all of Justice League International.
they just have fun with Zero Hour, which Jeff Johns, I know he loves Zero Hour because I know a lot of people hate it, but to me it was it was an okay story. Within the pages of JSA, he did some retconning, but it's a good retcon. I think he has a really good way of retconning bad things that shouldn't have happened to begin with. So I found it interesting that it's kicks off with issues 0, and then you know, we find out who the guy flying around as what's his name, Supernova is. It turns out to be Booster's dad.
We figured out that the book before, though.
Did we? Oh
Yeah,
yeah, that's right.
yeah, but we just get some backstory about their relationship with
So
each
we
other,
we literally get an issue 0, which
which
is
man,
awesome.
I really
I love
appreciate
that.
that too because when you start out hearing about Booster Gold's backstory, you kind of just assume that he's doing this stuff for himself, but then you see that there's definitely some push from his, like he's coming from a really bad situation with his dad, and I didn't know that about him. Also, what a creepy looking dad. What's the deal?
Well, I mean, when you get a scar, you got to go bad, right? You don't have
Yeah.
much choices. So really quick shout out to everybody in the chat. Thank you so much for joining us. I know Booster Gold is one of those things that probably not on a lot of people's radar, but it's such a good book, and it's one of the one of the few Geoff Johns books I never hear anybody talk about. What's up, Bug? It's my buddy Bug, Kenny Smotlock, Fake News, Drew B.
Yeah.
And Philip Evans, Joe Chip, ETL, L Denver, Jesse, all you guys, just saying what's up. So everybody, if you have not read this, read it because it's a lot of fun. But yeah, I think it's awesome that this kicks off with issue 0. So already harkening back to a lot of nostalgia for people, even though, like I said, 0 Hour wasn't the most beloved crossover event at DC. And then you get back to the regular series where they go into this alternate reality where Maxwell Lord is it kind of reminds me of Days of Future Past in a way, where he's like killing off all the heroes. You even get a Days of Future Past kind of thing where he's looking at the
Yeah.
monitors like deceased or wanted or so I thought that was really cool.
This was a great point to read, especially having just finished Infinite Crisis. Just because I finished Infinite Crisis and I go straight to this, and it's like all of Infinite Crisis has been undone. So that's been pretty cool because all the Omacs are still there. Maxwell Lord's still alive. He's killed all these superheroes, and as you learn later, he's got Superman in his pocket. No one was there to stop him.
Right. So kind of what would have happened if Wonder Woman had not broken his neck in our timeline, or their timeline, or pre Infinite Crisis. And then you find out, like through. Oh, I do love this panel. I got to show this panel. Where the hell is it? I know it's in this book, where you get the where the hell the meeting of the Time Stealers. It's very Silver Age. You get a Silver Age the Sparrow. I just love this panel. I think it's awesome. It's so ridiculous, so Silver Age, but that's cool. Yeah, so he has a team up with the new Justice League, and he's like, we got to get the band back together. So he wants to get the JLI back together, which, of course, was the Keith Giffen and DeMatteis run, which we all love from back in the 80s.
I'm dying to read JLI now after reading this.
Oh, we should. It's so good. And a lot of people think that it's just funny, but it has a lot more heart than
Well,
people remember.
that's
Like,
what's good about stuff like this. And honestly, the members of that group it's just full of people I really like. I don't know why I haven't read it yet.
yeah, he made it work. I mean, it preceded things like X Factor, where he took a bunch of C list, D list to some characters and put them in a Justice League book. You know, I can't. At least to me, I can't recall another comic book doing that back then. Before then, taking a bunch of no names and putting them in a big flagship title like that, you don't really see that. So also love this ridiculous cover right here.
It's really silly.
So everything gets wrapped up in issue 10, sadly, because since it's a fixed point, there's only one way to save everything.
It crushed me. I was so sad because I didn't know, which is nice to not know, but I just assumed because Blue
Oh,
was on the
right,
cover that he was back.
right.
So is this the last time we
Yep.
really see him until Rebirth?
Until Rebirth.
That's insane.
Yep, I know.
Why would you do that to Blue Beetle?
Why would you do that to fans of Blue Beetle?
I mean, we already Jaime is great. I love Jaime, but Ted, come on, you have to keep Ted.
I know. You like your superheroes white and male. I know, Maddie.
Whoa.
We
Rude.
only have two Latinos running around the DC
I
universe.
like having them both, I said. I wanna have them both.
So what's interesting is that it has always worked for the DC universe. Like you always have like characters with the same name just running around. But for some reason, when it happens to Marvel, people just throw a fit. They're like, "We can't have two Wolverines. This is stupid." But
Or 2
it works in the
Hawkeyes.
DC
It's 'cause
universe.
they're girls.
Jaime was a Latino. I told you about that issue, like where he spoke Spanish the entire issue, and then we get another throwback to a '90s crossover event, the DC 1 million. So we get Booster Gold 1 million, and that wraps up the Geoff Johns run. The series does continue, by the way. Dan Jurgens, the original creator of Booster Gold, took over the book. So I think this ends in a bittersweet note. I think I
Nice.
love this ending where he was like, "Yeah, man, I'm sorry, we couldn't save, Blue Beetle. That sucks balls. But I was able to cheat time a little bit, and I got your dead sister back."
But that's not the only great part, though, I mean, which is wonderful. It's great
Mm.
that she's back, but I think the most touching scene towards the end is when Batman calls him up.
Oh, that was awesome.
Because,
Go ahead.
we
You
we
could talk
we
about it.
have this point where Booster is so distraught because, Blue Beetle's gone. There's nothing he can do, and he just throws himself back into superhero work, and immediately, like, everyone's giving him shit again. Everyone's like, did you do this for publicity or whatever else?" He's like, "I just want to like fucking do my job now. Okay. I'm really sad. Leave me alone." And then Batman calls him up and, he immediately goes in like, "Yeah, I get it. I'm stuck. I'm self-centered, blah, blah, blah." And Batman holds that picture. He has some pictures from Joker's camera back when the incident happened to Barbara
Of
and saw
course,
him there.
Batman would keep that. That's so weird.
And he's like, "I didn't say anything because I knew that your outfit was different, so there must be a later time. I had to wait till you grew up." And there was this wonderful, just I man, it's so touching, this interaction between the 2 of them, which once again, this is why these moments like this is why I fight people when they say Batman's emotionless. Listen, Batman may not be emotionally intelligent, but that man is full of emotion and compassion for other people. Like, you can just see it right here when he's like, "Listen, you're worth it. You did something amazing here. I can see the pain you went through. I can see that you were tortured. Like, and if you ever need someone to listen to, I'm no Ted Cord, but I'm here." It's like, oh, it's so good.
No, that was solid, and I love the fact that he's like, you can keep acting like an idiot and put on this whole facade of you, just where nobody takes you seriously, but
But
deep down, I know who you are. I thought that was great.
that's good.
Uh,
And the big, big, big reveal at the end.
the epilogue,
No, 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 no. Rip Hunter
his
saying, "Keep it up, Dad,"
oh
to
yeah,
Booster
yeah, I forgot
Gold.
about that.
What? Oh my God! I had no idea.
Damn it, Dan Jurgens drawing this goofy face too that made me tear up a little bit. I was like, oh, of course that makes sense.
Oh my gosh, you guys, that's awesome. Damn it,
And
DC, put Booster Gold Legends of Tomorrow. Ted Kord is in like he's technically within like the CW DC show universe.
thanks, Bug. Oh, and thank you everybody that's commented on my T-shirt. Thank you. I love the little like things to come from Dan Jurgens when he takes over the title. Thought that was really nice.
Well, he did some of that in this issue, this volume as well, because if you go back,
Oh yeah, the last page of issue 1.
yeah, he
Yeah,
revealed that
yeah, we saw actually all those
uh
things happen, didn't they?
what's his name? Or I forgot again.
The only thing I can say
Don't
negative
worry.
about so there's a couple things. One of the biggest things about this stupid series is that they are
Master.
fucking sold out, like completely sold out and out of print and have been for many years. I'm surprised we don't have complete collections. That's why I decided to do those omnibuses because I was like, there's no way in hell DC ever decides to put this in an omni format. Everything else Jeff Johns has done, except this Final Crisis thing, right? Which we haven't seen that yet, Jeff Johns. Except, well, Final Crisis was confusing as shit. Spoilers, Batman. What? What the hell is this? Why is Aquaman wearing his '80s outfit? and the JLI is there. But yeah, that's the only thing I can say that sucks that these things aren't back in print or we don't have like complete collections of this,
Yeah, 'cause
and they're
I got
hard to find.
like, I only have these 2, um, but I think we kept finding volume 2 everywhere and not volume 1, and I found volume 1 for, like, $5 at a comic book store, like, the
Oh
used
yeah,
box, and I just picked it up, I was like, "They don't know what they have," and immediately I hugged it and, like, ran to the
I hugged
the
it.
counter, "I'll go ahead and take this. It's fine."
So there's one thing that gives me hope for a future oversized collected edition maybe, and that is that they recently announced, well, about 2 or 3 months ago, that they're doing the classic gold booster gold series by Dan Jurgens. That's coming out in oversized format here in the next month or so. So I guess if they sell well or if they don't get canceled, we'll get something. Speaking of selling well and getting canceled, thank you everybody for watching the show. We posted on our Instagram and Twitter that DC just recently announced a Starman Omnibus Volume One, $150. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, they don't cancel that, and that Volume One collects the original small omnibuses, volumes 1, 2, and 3. So James Robinson's Starman Omnibus Volume One just leaked out on the Penguin site, so the book catalog site. We posted it on Instagram and Twitter. But since you fine people are joining us, Penguin Random House, that's what it is. Uh, we wanted to let you all know too. So Starman Volume One, $150. Everybody go pre-order that. I'm gonna double dip because it is top 3 favorite comic book of all time. So I will be buying that, and hope everybody else does too. Now, Maddie, this is the part of the show that you love when we talk numbers, and you're like, "Oh man, I like this, but I don't want to give it a 10. I'll give it an 8." So somewhere between it, then I have to do the
I know,
math
it's
for you.
hard because part of me wants to give it a 10 out of 10, but I think I feel more comfortable with a 9 out of 10. I
9 out
think
of
it's
10.
I
Okay.
think it's very, very good. I think the story's great. I don't see a lot of stories like this in comic books.
No.
I think it's done incredibly well. There were a couple moments that I felt like dragged a little bit, but, I'd like to read the rest of the run to see if any of that stuff comes back, like the future Blue Beetle and stuff, like, I don't know.
Oh. Well, he played a bigger role in Hymus's Blue
Okay,
Beetle series,
okay.
but some of the stuff comes back. I think I would give this an 8 out of 10. It was a lot of fun. Uh, just I think you would appreciate it a lot more if you knew a lot more about the DC universe. Like going into it and experience it for the first time, like some of these stories make so much more sense if you knew where these characters were at a certain time. And I think if it wasn't, and it had to, but it had to do that, right? You couldn't tell the story without things like that, uh, without little tidbits of information like that. So
Well,
8 out.
luckily, like, I don't think there was too much in there that like, I didn't get from what I read
No,
before.
I think Jeff Johns is
So, like,
amazing about filling in the information that you need. Like, even though you knew nothing about his sister, you still felt for her when she returned. It wasn't like, "Oh, this character's back. I guess that's something."
well, and I actually kinda knew a little bit about her, but I've watched videos on Booster Gold.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
But
Videos on Booster.
like, we've read a lot of the big comic book events, and then I've read some of on my own as well. So, luckily, like, I feel like for the most part, I knew what was going on. The only thing I wish that I had done, and I had considered it this weekend, but I didn't have enough time, was going ahead and reading 52 to get ready for it. And I thought about it last night, but I was like, do I wanna go through all of 52 in one night? Probably not. So,
What? Everything is 9 out of 10 for Maddie. Not
not
true.
everything.
Smotlock.
Listen,
What did you give the Kree Scroll War? Oh man, it was bad. It
I
was like
hated it.
two and a half.
I
Two and a
hated it
half
so
out of
much.
10. 2 and a half. Not even for the Neil Adams art. You were like, yeah, two and a
You're
half.
right, Smile, like, I just love Booster. But, yeah, I mean, there's stuff I read that I do not like that much. DC, I feel like I tend to like a lot more, especially when it's a character I care about. Because there's certain runs that I know aren't good, but I can really appreciate if I feel like they do a good job with by the character. So maybe the overall story is nothing to, write home about, But if I feel like I have some serious character insight and development, I really enjoy those kinds of books.
Like
Because
Dark
so much in
Phoenix Saga.
no.
Ah, what? The Dark
Dude,
Phoenix Saga was
I'm sorry,
amazing.
I love you so much. I do not like that book.
That book was great. You're so right.
I
I'm gonna
don't
make you.
like
You know what? Old reader, new reader. It's a new thing. We're gonna reread that book every 6 months
no,
until you love it. Until you
no,
give it a 10 out of 10.
I that will not help it. I would
Ah, I'm
like to
so
read
glad I
some
was drunk
different
for that episode.
X-Men, please.
Oh, we are. We're gonna start diving into some X-Men because I have a feeling, and this is just me, just uh, hypothesizing that I think the next Marvel box set is going to be an X-Men box set.
Yeah.
So I think in my head, I'm like, oh my god, what stories would I put in there if I were to make an X-Men box set? So I'm kind of like going through them and saying, oh, okay, we so could read that for this show.
I'd like to read some of the newer runs because I keep starting them and not finishing. I need an excuse to read through an entire new run.
Most of the editors at Marvel probably feel the same way too. They start reading those new X-Men titles and then drop them by the end. It's difficult like to keep up with them. And I swear to God, every time a new X-Men comic book comes out, I get excited because I'm like, oh shit, yes, new X-Men, new creative team. This is gonna be great. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be the best thing ever.
Yeah,
Even
they
when
just
Bendis,
rebooted.
even when Bendis took over the book, I was like, I got excited. And I don't
Mm.
even like Bendis. I was like, oh well, maybe this will be his thing. Maybe his calling is X-Men. Maybe his Guardians wasn't the best, but no, it was not good. But that's my opinion. Uh, so that maybe this whole thing with Hickman coming in and doing everything, uh, but I don't know. But it's
I
Hick,
think I need to
but
be
it's
more
but
Hickman
it's
too because I just don't.
well, and that's the thing with
You say
Hickman.
Hickman, I don't
He
get
plays the
excited. I'm like, oh god, great.
he plays the long game, so the payoff isn't it's not going to be in the first issue like you get with. See, a lot of the payoffs that I enjoyed about X Men were within the pages of the first issue that I read, like Astonishing X Men issue 1, or Grant Morrison's first issue on New X Men. I feel like with Hickman, it's going to be the last page of his last issue after 2 years on X Men. I'm going to be like, oh, that's why those plants were there. Got it. This book is brilliant.
We'll see.
But I guess we'll see. I agree about East of West. That's a solid book.
I'm
I
happy
don't
to try some. I don't know.
I don't think it's over yet. I think it's almost over. X-Men haven't been relevant since the early 90s. Yes and no. I mean, I quit reading comic books because of X-Men. I was done. I'm like, I can't do this shit anymore. But I also came back because of X-Men. So Grant Morrison brought me back with New X-Men, and then when Joss Whedon took over what was going to be New X-Men and they turned into Astonishing, I was like, well, shit, yes, I'm
Maybe
in
I'll
now.
like Joss Whedon's run. I just want like I want something that feels like the cartoons. Is what I
Like,
want from X-Men because that's what the X-Men. That's the X-Men I like.
wait,
I
did
like
you
the
grow?
original, and then I like Evolution.
Well, you're in luck because Evolution, the two guys that wrote that, came on to X-Men. Well, They came on to write new. God damn it! This is so confusing. Okay, hold on. Stay with me.
Okay.
Adjectiveless X-Men became New X-Men when Grant Morrison came in and said, "Fuck it, I'm taking over the title." The editors are like, "Yeah, fuck yeah, you're big balls, fucking Grant Morrison. You can do whatever you want. Rename the book, sure." So that was New X-Men. When Grant Morrison left, Joss Whedon was going to take over New X-Men, but then the editors were like, "Nah, man, fuck, we got Joss Whedon. Shit, let's make a new book, Astonishing X-Men." And then New X-Men went back to being adjectiveless X-Men. Uncanny was still going on. Now, at the time, the New Mutants were coming back, and we had a New Mutants issue, or we had New Mutants title. When the New X-Men title was dropped, the editor said, "Wait, the New Mutants can become New X-Men now because Grant Morrison is gone." So I hope you're staying with me. This is why
Yeah.
nobody likes comic books. So, so when New X-Men, the kids, the New Mutants, uh, the sales weren't that great. And Kyle and Yost, both of the guys that did X-Men Evolution, you might remember their name because they wrote this little movie called Thor Ragnarok. They came on board. They decided to kill off half of the kids and like in this pure fucking massacre, brought in the character that they created from X-Men Evolution, which is X-23.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, yeah, we're gonna bring her in, we're gonna do our own thing, and damn, it was awesome. That led into X-Force, that led into the whole Messiah War trilogy, which is Messiah Complex. Uh, I just said it, Messiah War, Second Coming, and Ex Necrotia. But anyway, oh, that stuff is awesome. I think you would really like that stuff.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm down.
Nerds, shut up, Bug. Harley, I was in full nerd mode. Thanks, Nocturne. So yeah, I wish I had a whiteboard. I could have explained it a little bit better. This is Grant
Just you like
Morrison,
cracked it. And listen, and then this one is like this.
and then this motherfucker came over from England and said, "Nope, we ain't calling it X-Men. We're calling it New X-Men."
Gosh, comics are stupid. Just reboot this. Just like
Well, and they try, right?
Marvel just like I just want like a clean slate completely.
They try to reboot them, and every time they do, sales go up for a little bit, and then they realize, oh man, it's still the same dull shit. Like, these ideas. There was. I know you've heard me say this before. There's always been this theory that in comic books everything gets regurgitated every 7 years. So because new readers come on board
Mhm.
every 7 years or so, right? So what might be your first crossover 8 years ago is now being redone, and you're like, wait a minute, they've done this shit before. It was called the Mutant Registration Act before Civil War. All these stories, they get really repetitive, and everything gets renumbered, only to go back to the legacy number when there's an anniversary issue. Uh,
Mhm.
and you'll sit there and people will bitch about it and still buy it. So Uncanny X-Men has been. I remember Jess wanted me to do a video on how many times the X-Men have been revamped, and I'm like, I don't really need to do a video. I can just tell you, man, it's been just a few times. It hasn't been that many, but now with Hickman's X-Men, I don't think we're calling it Uncanny though. We have House of X and Power of X, and then everything leading up to that is called Dawn of X. So I don't think the title Uncanny is still there. I think that title is getting canceled. So, yes, Booster Gold. How the hell did we get into the topic of
I
X-Men?
don't know. Anyways, I love Booster Gold. I love him forever. And I guess I'm gonna have to buy the JLI omnibuses.
Yes, you are. There's only
So
one. Volume 2, probably not a chance in hell it'll ever come out.
that's okay.
But the trades are still there. You can custom bind them. I actually have a really good map on how to custom bind them because I've been thinking about doing them. But I'm hoping maybe there's a slight chance that DC will end up releasing the second volume or the second omnibus by leaving old dude's name out of it, kind of like
Yeah.
what they did with Flash and one of the volumes of Green Lantern. But odds are, I don't know. So. Yes, Motluck. That's why I kind of wanted to do a custom bind because you can find a lot of those issues for cheap, both Justice League Europe and Justice League of America. So, but those were great, man. Those were my youth. That's when I got huge into Justice League. And right now, I think there's a poll on our Patreon for which comprehensive reading order people want me to do next, and I know JLA is up there. Oh, Bug. Yeah, you need to watch my custom bound videos.
Man, I need to get started on mine. I'm just a few issues away from finishing my The Titans collection,
hmm
and I can send that to get custom bound, and then I'll be sending Outsiders
Yeah, yeah.
custom bound. So, which I can't. I just want that to be. I want my pretty custom bound Outsiders so bad. Ugh.
It will only take 2, 3 if you want to do Batman and the Outsiders.
No. I only
Oh,
want my
oh,
Outsiders. If
okay,
there's
okay.
anybody else there,
All right, hater.
I
Uh,
will. And I feel bad because I feel like that'll keep me from reading some good Batman the Outsiders
well,
work.
I'm not talking about.
I like my group, and I
Well, some of the group is still in Batman and Outsiders,
yeah, but it's different.
like the 2 girls that you like are in there, Thunder and what's her
Crazy
name?
Boy.
Yeah, they're still in Batman and the
Yeah,
Outsiders.
it's just I don't know. This Outsiders has a family dynamic like Titans does that I really enjoy.
Hmm.
And when that dissolved, it was just really hard.
No, I get it. Yeah, I mean, like we talked about during Infinite Crisis, like 1 year later wasn't too. It wasn't a good move for a lot of books, and some books ended up paying the price.
And they took
Like,
out a couple really good characters in Outsiders too, and it was just like, come on.
yeah, because well, the big one, of course, being Roy, because he went on to become Red Arrow.
Yeah. And
So
then
they had to do that.
uh that girl, I always forget her name, but she's one of the Brainiacs. And then oh man,
Was she gone? What did they do with her?
yeah, she's just gone, I think. And then
Oh,
what's his name? Who does like the elements? He's like white and then purple and orange.
oh,
But it's not
fake
Metamorpho.
Metamorpho, fake
I
Metamorpho.
loved him. I always forget
Glitch. It's like Glitch or something like
something
that.
like that. But I loved him, and then they took him away from me, and I'll never have him again. It's just like how I'll never see Grace Choi again. It's just like it's all over.
Oh yeah. Well, give it some time. You get
Mhm.
some variation of them.
Comics, they all listen, they all hate me and they hate what I love. So
They brought Wally back. Oh wait.
yeah, yeah,
They were
yeah.
brought him back and he had 2 good years, and then holy shit, did they ever fuck that character up. That's
Leave
okay.
now.
I'll wait till the next crisis. Isn't
Dude,
that sad? You get old enough, you're like, just wait till the next crisis. They'll get it right next time.
God. DC. So what should we read next?
Next week, Pony Boy and Soda Pop. No, not Ralph Macchio Outsiders. DC Outsiders. We are going to be next Tuesday. We are reading Secret Wars, the original Secret
Okay.
Wars. Uh, taking it back to Marvel, taking it to the very first Marvel event. I know some people will argue, say Contest of Champions, Defenders, Avengers War, but really this was the company-wide event, Secret Wars, to sell toys. They made a 12 issue. Was 12 issues? Or wait. No, yes, 12 issue maxi series that introduce such classic characters as what the hell's Julia Carpenter and Colossus's girl, and of course the black Spider-Man costume. Secret Wars next Tuesday, live at 8 o'clock. By the way, we might be trying out a different way of doing our live events because YouTube has decided to do away with
Google
Google
Hangout.
Hangouts. So the way we did them, I think it's like Streambird or something like that. We're going to try that out. You may not get a notification that we're live, but check the channel out at around 8 o'clock, just in case you want to join us for the live event. Of course, you can always watch us whenever you want, but if you want to join us live, but it's got some pretty cool little things, like where you can take somebody's question from the chat and highlight it and put it into the video. So I think that's really cool. Yes, Brady Bunch near mint. We did it yesterday on Omnibros Live. So we're gonna try that out, and or what was it? The other thing that we used, OBS. So that will be next Tuesday, and then last week on the 30th, we got any suggestions from anybody out there in the chat or in the comments? Let us know. Or does anything pique your interest, Maddie? You know, this is a 50-50 thing. I choose
Well, we needed to do
50%
something
of.
not DC or Marvel for the following week. So it needs to be something complete. That's the other hard part too, because there's a lot of really good ongoing series.
Mhm.
We're trying not to do that.
I
So
think this is going to get easier because I've got some upcoming videos probably in the next month, like a what's been collected in collected editions as far as events, and I want to do it in chronological order as far as Marvel and DC. And once I have that list, I'm going to be like, oh, we so could read that because that's only 4 issues. But if you want to, you want to read something independent,
yeah, I think it's good if we just stagger them whenever possible.
of course.
We could read through Saga just because it's not
Yeah,
complete, but it's done for now.
yes, let's do that. And I want to do the Authority.
Yeah.
Um, but maybe we can kick off next month with The Authority because I know you haven't read it.
Yeah, and we'll have to wait
So,
for it to get in and stuff too.
topless live streams, just a suggestion. Thank you, Brie Larson. It's comments like that will get up here. Mutant Genesis 1991 Nocturne. I knew you were somebody that spoke to my heart. That is a phenomenal story. We need to get Maddie more X-Men books. All right. I gotta pick an X-Men book for next month. I'm gonna go ahead and say The Mutant Massacre. Let's go ahead and get in there. We did the Dark Phoenix saga. We did X-Men God Loves Man Kills. Let's do the very first mutant crossover event that wasn't really a crossover event, but it was, and you'll see what I mean. We'll do the Mutant Massacre. That'll be sometime next month. Immortal Iron Fist, that's a good one. Queen and Country. Give us some suggestions for independent ones.
Um, yeah, Brie Larson's Taint.
I love
Great
that
name.
name.
Just said, Walking Dead just ended. I've actually never read Walking Dead,
Oh god, that's such a quick read too.
and I've been to that town where the comic book starts several times.
Oh, look at me. My name's Maddie. I've been to the Walking Dead town. Where is it? Covington? Covington, right?
Cynthiana, Kentucky.
Oh shit, that's like 10 minutes away from Georgetown, isn't it? Something like that.
It's a bit away, but yeah.
It's a bit away.
There's a Walking Dead mural. The town has nothing else going for it now. It's just like, hey, technically, the Walking Dead creators from here and Walking Dead started here for one page before he left and went to Georgia.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. And Robert
Ooh,
Kirkman.
Criminal. I'd be down to read Criminal.
I would be too. And actually, the story's continuing. The Clayton Crane artwork run. What book is that? Oh, Ray. Yeah, I didn't know that. Or Rye. Can't remember how to say it. I didn't know that's where Clayton Crane went. I love that dude's artwork.
Oh man, should we read The Boys since the show's coming out? I'm gonna hate it.
What? Why would you hate the boys?
I just know. I read that first issue.
Matt,
I was like,
Maddie, it's
bro.
brilliant. It's Garth Ennis at his
Well, from what
grossest
I
and
read,
best.
it was no irredeemable. So I think we should read it, and then I can
Well,
just talk about how it's not irredeemable.
you can't compare the two.
Yes, I can.
No, you can't. One is blasphemous and one is. And you know what? No, fuck it. The Boys has done really well. I enjoyed The Boys.
Well,
Uh,
that's why I think we should read it. I want to try. I want to give it a fair shot.
well, Dynamite is releasing omnibuses. Maybe if we knew somebody at Dynamite, we could get the first omnibus, which is just the first absolute edition or whatever they were called, the
Yeah.
definitive edition. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Uh, hmm. Okay, maybe we can do that. Actually, I like that idea.
Oh,
And
Lloyd says, wasn't there going to be a manga episode? We should schedule a manga for at least next month.
okay, look, our month is already filling up. We got the Authority. We do Saga. Why don't we do Saga at the end of this month? All three of the hardcovers.
I can do that because I own them now.
All right. That I think that's a great point or a great catching on, like, because everybody gets to catch up that way because the book is on hiatus. I want to say for about 7 more months. So Saga volumes 1, 2, and 3 of the hardcovers.
Okay.
That we will talk about that at the end of this month on Tuesday, July 30th.
Yep.
Stars, man. Pluto manga, 20th Century Boys. Oh my god,
Oh,
there's so much
that
that
is
we could
absolutely
do.
on the list.
20th
Anything
Century
Kurosawa.
Boys is solid. I recorded my manga tour, and Melanie, my wife, helped me do it, and we were just reminiscing about a lot of the old shit that I have, and his name kept popping up because I was like, I enjoyed this. I need to upgrade to get the perfect collection because I only have the regular poor man's edition.
Well, luckily those are still slowly coming out, so.
Nocturne. I look forward to all the yaoi you're going to read. I have
Well, he did just buy Banana Fish.
that is not yaoi or yaoi. How do you
Isn't
pronounce
it?
it?
Yaoi?
It's about two cops that are really good friends,
Okay.
and they just happen to have sex with each other. But it's not about the sex, dude. I do have a funny story about that. About the yaoi thing in general. When I was reviewing manga for my website many years ago, for some reason I caught the eye of somebody That's all they did. That's all they published was yaoi stuff.
Yeah.
And they were so nice. They were like, "We're gonna send you a full run of blah blah blah," and I just read manga and free, and they're gonna send it to me. I got excited. I had no idea what I was opening up. I opened up this giant box of like dudes on dudes. And I was like, "Oh fuck, I gotta review this," because I would feel bad. So I reviewed. I'll never forget. Like I reviewed 3 of them, and I'm like, I can't keep doing this because this is all
I mean,
basically the same thing. So I gave it to my brother. I gave it to my gay
yeah.
brother, and my gay brother says, "Okay." I remember him texting me going, "Dude, this shit's too gay for me. I don't understand who's."
Because
And I'm like, he's like, "I think
all
it's written for
written by
women."
women. Yeah, well,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Well, the same way that, the majority of Yuri manga is not written for me. Like,
Oh, right, right.
there's exceptions, but the majority of it was not written with me in mind.
Yeah, I get it then. Then if
Except
that's
for
the case, then
Utena, which I would love to read. We should read Utena.
I've got the definitive edition, the 2 little hardcovers. Um, but yeah, we can throw some manga in there. I'd love to do, like I told you, I'd love to do Berserk. Like when Berserk 40 comes out, you can read Berserk 1 through 40 on one sitting, and it'll make you feel dirty and amazing at the same time. And manga really doesn't do that. Well, Battle Royale did that. Got a comic with. I knew I get a bug with some keywords. And one day we're gonna read Transformers. Damn
A
it, the
gay lethal
IDW.
weapon. You know what? Smatlock, I'm in. That sounds great.
I'm getting too old for this shit.
Can Lena Inverse beat Wonder Woman in a fight? Why would you, Drew? Why would you ask me that question? You know I love both of them equally. This is rude, Drew.
That is a good question. Who would win, Maddie?
Oh, probably. Well, Lena Inverse can fight dirty, so maybe Lena.
You nerd, you thought about it.
Elliot's looking at me like,
It's Wonder Woman, right?
I just actually commissioned a very expensive Lena Inverse wig. Um,
I thought you already had one. Are you gonna dress up as Lena Inverse soon?
yeah,
When
I want a better wig. I spent a lot of money on it.
when can we see this?
In a few months from now. If we review Slayers, I can wear it on channel.
Omar, get your gay brother on here. A gay ass episode with Tina and Maddie.
I'm down. Listen, you guys don't understand. When I'm talking with the rest of my friends about comics, it's just me sending pictures and being like, look how gay this is.
That's the reason
Um,
why she got in the comics.
Gio recommended Oyasumi Poon Poon, which I'd be down. I've only read maybe like a volume or two.
Good Night Poom Poom. That's
Yeah,
heavy.
when it was
It's
coming
good.
out. Yeah, and I'd love to read more of it. I think that'd be pretty great.
I know Melanie wanted to join us for the what's it called saga, so maybe she'll do Good Night Poon Poon. She did. She read all of it already, or half of it.
And we need to bring in Kristen and Tina for some stuff
All right,
too.
we need Superman for Kristen, right? What do you want to get Tina into?
Well, Tina will come for the manga stuff for like X-Men.
Maybe we should do Mutant Massacre with Tina.
I've been handing her a few different comics here or there and getting her into stuff. So
See, Geo keeps up. By the way, shout out to my boy Geo, Weekend Geekdom.
Ooh, Ancient Magus Bride, yeah.
See, you all are saying shit I hear of, but I don't know. Like,
Geo and I know.
yeah, I know you all keep up with this. Like I got drunk the other day. I told you about that. I ordered a lot of anime, like
Yeah.
a shit ton of anime. I'm gonna. You were like, you need to make a video. I'm going to. It's pretty embarrassing, and I based what I ordered on what you all talk about sometimes. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck this is, but sure. Can I pick up girls in a dungeon or some stupid shit like that? Why would I order that? But I
Ooh,
picked
can I
them up.
borrow it?
Yeah, of course you can. I'm not gonna watch it. Like that's the thing. Like I pick up all this shit, and I'm like, when do I have time to watch this? Like I gotta read comic books. I don't have time to watch anime, so I made it a thing to watch it with like my kids. And one of them was like Tales of the Abyss or Tales in the Abyss. What is it called?
Yeah.
Something like that. But it turns out this mature rating. I'm like, really? I got that box of Dude on Dude while you were drunk. I did not. I'm trying to think of any anime in my 30 something years of buying anime that I might have accidentally bought that's dude on dudes. Not that there's anything wrong
Gundam
with
Wing.
that. Gundam Wing. Yes. Like Rob on the show loves Gundam Wing, and I'm like, you realize that's like what all the Gundam people call the gay Gundam, right? And he's like, shut up, man. No, it's not. And I'm like,
Yeah, it is.
no, dude, they're all like pretty boys, of course. Um, so I'm trying to think. Earthian, do you remember that one? That one's pretty
No.
dude on dudes. I remember really liking the animation though. Okay, so to recap, uh,
Booster Gold, 9 out of 10.
Booster Gold, 8 out of 10 and a 9 out of 10. Next week, we are going to be reviewing, doing old reader, new readers on Secret Wars, the original Secret Wars series. The week after that, the 30th, Tuesday 30. We're always here on Tuesdays, by the way, if this is your first time joining us at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The next week after that, we are doing Saga, all the 3 hardcovers. And then we're probably going to kick off the next month with what I say, the Authority
Yeah.
omnibus. Let's do the omnibus. I think you'll. It's a fast read. You'll dig it. You'll like it. And yeah, we'll have some guest stars. Maybe we can get Jess on for the Authority, Kristen on for a. So we got to think of a Superman book. Got the X Men book.
She can be on for anything.
Okay.
But I guess we wanted to be a new reader on something, though. So
Right.
X-Men
So
probably wouldn't work.
I want to pick up something like a good Superman book. Have you read Red Sun?
No.
I don't.
Well, what about Birthright? Did we read Birthright on here? Or did I read it by myself?
How dare you not remember any of our episodes? No, you read that by yourself. We did Superman for All Seasons. We did All Star Superman, and we
Because
did
Birthright's my favorite. If I was
Death
going
of
to get someone
Superman.
into a Superman at all, it would be Birthright. Personally.
Um, yeah, that's a classic. I like Secret Identity too by Busick. I like Geoff Johns' run on Superman. So Man of Steel, if they ever give us any proper damn omnibuses. So yeah, we'll have Jess and then Kristen on, and then Tina, and then my wife Melanie as guest stars. But next week it'll be Maddie and I tackling Secret Wars, and how much she's gonna like love it because it's Marvel and it's not DC Booster Gold. And that is it. Don't forget that there is a Starman Omnibus coming out. Woohoo! DC, don't cancel that shit. Collecting, I guess, the first 3 omnibuses. So that's a good thing for people that are that have not picked up or haven't read it before. And then what else? That it? Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe button. Check us out on Redbubble. Thank you to all our Patreons. And if you enjoy the content of this channel, please don't forget to hit that Patreon button. No, please think about supporting us on Patreon. I fucking suck at doing this. Anything else, Maddie?
No, I can do our sign off, which I'm getting better at.
All right, do your thing.
All right.
Agreed, Drewby. Go ahead. Sorry.
Remember, if it's classy and cool, it must be in your vent. See you next